Hello chefs, you might be wondering, I've been asked to make a demonstration how to prepare parsley batter. Well, it's not really parsley batter, it's just chopped parsley preserved in batter, which I perhaps shown you sometime before, and prepared to finish off some vegetables or even some meat or fish dishes. So my daughter said, why don't we do this? So I'll do the parsley batter as a demonstration, which I will put on YouTube instead, so that everybody can sort of access it. And then on Monday I will use it for the dish, which will be a Spanish omelette, so you can see the uses of it. But it's not necessarily just parsley batter. Any sort of soft herbs can be used. Parsley, flat leaf is the best one for flavor. I kept some here for later on for myself for garnishing, but also you can use dill, which is very fine strand, as you can see here, and also celery leaves. Instead of throw them away, we can use as herbs. These two go very well with fish and salads, and also some vegetables, and this obviously is a more hardy one. So you can buy this at the Asian shop or maybe on a high street on a stalls, and the whole lot cost me about 75 pence, and I get plenty of parsley batter. The batter, I said, is a preservation media, so I don't have too much of it, just to bind it and then freeze it. And you will need one of those things that you find in the fridge to freeze water, to make ice cubes, and that's where the batter is going to go. So off I go. Obviously, sharp knife, something to stir the batter with, and a palette knife later on for spreading the batter across the ice cube tray. Sharp knife, the one that we're using all the time, is a staple sort of equipment. And what I'm trying to do is the finger walk that we learned so far, we do in julienne. And I just, first of all, just go through the whole bunch right down onto the stem. Now, most of the herbs are being farmed, so the stems are clean, and you can use quite a bit too, and chop it together with the rest of the leaves. So you can see I turn it around to make sure I catch all the leaves that sort of straggling across the sides. You can use curly parsley, but it's not as strong. And if you were here, you could smell the lovely sort of chlorophyll smell of the parsley, which is fantastic. So I'm hitting already some of the stalks, the finer stalks inside. I go through it and I cut them fairly thin, so I don't need to chop too much. And I say for 75 pence, maybe a pound, you get a lot of parsley, which will last a month in a freezer. Well, this one is really the basic sort of thing, but there are many more batters, which we call compound batters, where you add things to it. For instance, one you might want to use is mixed parsley with garlic for your garlic bread, freshly made. As you can see, I'm almost doing a barber shop approach, where I do the short back and side, getting as much of the leaf as possible out of my parsley. So you could do, as I said, garlic batter, and then if you go into the classical cuisine, you got other compound batter, and the one that popularly used with parsley is beurre maître d'hôtel, which is mixed with lemon juice and a touch of cayenne. The talks are excellent for stock, so I got a pot there. I'll stick it in together with some celery sticks. I got some carrots and some tomato trimmings, and half an onion, skin and all. And that's my fresh vegetable stock, which I use for a soup soon enough. So you can see there's a lot of parsley. You might find it difficult to chop it all at once. If you've got a small knife, you can do it in two batches. So this one really is as far as you want to go with the parsley preserve. If you go into compound batters, I say there's some done with anchovy, some done with also tarragon, and shallots reduced in red wine. Sorry, I'm chucking too much, but that's classical cuisine. This one is really for my sort of videos demonstration of cuisine, one man in his pot, really, sort of a very basic and fairly essential cookery that I do with you, because I have to budget it both time, ingredients and cost. So as you probably noticed, I'm doing what I've done in the past for herb, fairly firm grips on the sort of handle, open hand so you don't cut your fingers underneath the blade, keep the tip down and you sort of fulcrum it all across it. And don't want it to make it too fine, so every now and then I just turn it around, take it off the blade so no whole leaves remain, and continue. You could do this with the processor, but the processor tends to be a bit too fast and makes a bit too much juice, which ruins really the appearance of the parsley and also squeezes out the fragrance of the parsley. So a sharp knife is far better. And also with the processor, you find that unless you keep the blade really razor sharp, eventually it will mash up rather than chop. As you can see, it's nearly fine enough. The telltale that is fine enough is when I cannot detect the shape of the leaf anymore. So everything is like the little squares or little shape of fresh parsley. It takes time, but it's well worth it because you're going to use it time and again. And certainly it's cheaper than buy the little pot parsley in a supermarket where you pay 60 pence for something like this. You could plant it, but it takes years to have a nice bush for it. All the soft or tender leaves, herbs can be used. So you can go with the chives, you can go with tarragon, you can go with basil is not so good because it tends to sort of go brown and crush it. Basil better use fresh. And mint can be used as well, but that's more preserved in mint sauce, in vinegar. There you are. That's enough. So all I do now is to work the batter a bit with a cloth underneath like I've done for the chopping board. Just soften it up. If you're vegetarian, you can use any of your vegetable spreads. It freezes just as well. And in you go. As you can see, it's lots of parsley. Natural volume, it'd be almost twice as much as butter. So really the whole sort of idea is to get the herbs and not the butter onto your recipe. And you can see nice bright color there, which is the sign of a good, well mature parsley. I mean, you can make up your own if you want to, with different flavors too. Your favorite flavors, like perhaps some of the spices, if you're doing a lot of Indian food, where perhaps you use the coriander as a base. So all I do is just mix it in until it's all spread into the butter. So you can see the butter is just holding the leaves together. When it's all more or less homogeneous color, I'm ready for the next step. That's it. Yep. So you can see it's almost all green now. You can hardly see the color of the butter. And next is this. So I just plop it on. No ceremonies. And either with a palette, or you can use one of those instead. But a palette better because it has a more cutting edge across the ridges of the ice tray. And down you go. Make sure you press it right in, so you got no air bubbles. Right, I need a bit more. Put it level, so you can see the ridges. See how much time I got? Yep, not too much time left, so I have to sort of hurry it up and show you the one I done before. So this goes in a freezer, just like that, and once it's frozen, you take it out and just put it across the steam so as to release the outside, and pop out the little cubes which I got here. So I keep them in the freezer, and they last ages, being mainly butter. So as I need them, one by one, I either leave them out to get soft, say with the garlic butter for the bread, or just straight into the sauce, or like I will do on Monday with a frittata or Spanish omelette. The rest of the butter, see how much time I got? 2 minutes. I might be able to do it. So this goes in the freezer together my previously prepared butter. That's an option on how to do it if you haven't got any ice cube trays. You use cling film. Put it down on the table, cut the amount you need, and then all you do is make little sausage. Oh, I enjoy this. It's again a skill that you can use later on for some of the poaching as well as the steaming dishes. The butter in the bowl won't get wasted. I will melt it down and have it with my dinner today, which is probably a vegetable, steamed vegetable. So what you do is just make it into a rough rectangle so that it's got no rough bits, and then you roll over with the edge of the sheet, and you just press it. Make sure that your cling film is not a cheap one that tends to rip, and roll it. And twist the ends and make a nice sort of little sausage of parsley butter. Again, you can put it, this one is better in the fridge, you use it fresh, but you can freeze it too. The only thing is not in bits, so when in the fridge or the freezer is small enough, all you do to cut it, take off some of the cling film, dip the blade of the knife into boiling water, and you just slice off the little sort of discs of butter, and you can put it on top of whatever you want to serve. So I got one there which I prepared. This one I prepared with dill, and that one with parsley. Fish, meat and veg, salads, and maybe even some delicate chicken. So there you are, compound butter. See you next time, Monday. Bye bye.